Hey, what's up, guys? Kaiser here, and I'm coming at you from the Manhasset Mall. I'm in the Toku here. I'm having a little drink. I had a meeting out here, so I thought, why not do a few podcasts? So that's what I was doing. And now I have something. Those podcasts were for the Better Body business site. So those of you that are interested in that will get to enjoy those. But now I have something for our general members. Now, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of the content I'm making, stuff that I'm doing in the Kaiser's Corner, and things that I'm talking about have to do with our evolution as humans. So that's what I want to talk about in this episode. Now, whether or not you believe in evolution, maybe you don't, and that's obviously your choice. There's a lot you can learn, and even using this as a mental exercise, because to a large degree, you can't deny that we're all animals. And when it comes to fitness, there's something that's a central fact, a central aspect of what we do about what we do here. Excuse me, please, because I've had a little bit of this. All right, what we do here at Better Body. And it's that we treat fitness as the most important part of life. It impacts every part of life. And why is that? Because it has to do with the body. And before we had all this fancy stuff, before we had restaurants, before we had cars, before we had these and these, all you had was this. So human life has changed now that we're thousands and hundreds of thousands of years into being humans, but our internal biology hasn't changed. Our basic subconscious psychology hasn't changed. So no matter how much you try to deal with the conscious mind, unless you tackle the body, deal with the body, none of that will work. You have to deal with the innate animal nature of humanity, of your own life first. And that all starts with your body. That's the most important part. That's the central part. It deals with every single thing. It's something I don't have to talk about. I've talked about in numerous videos. I've talked about how in relationships, it should go without saying. But why don't people get it? That people are judging you by your appearance. Sexual attractiveness has to do with physical appearance. If you're strong, if you have some of this going on, it means you can fight off competitors, you can win in a fight, you can protect yourself, you can survive, and you have survival value. If a woman has this shape, it means that she can squeeze a baby out of there. And it means that she, again, her body is the vessel from which the baby is coming out. So if it's not like this, then that vessel is not healthy, and the next generation may not be healthy. So all of those things are survival-related things. Though those have to deal with relationships, with happiness relationships, but it deals back with the body. Now let's talk about work. Work is, again, a leadership thing. You know who to follow based on personal energy, personal power. A lot of that relates to the body. Now, some of that doesn't. I'm a big believer in finding and understanding your own personal power regardless of any other outside influence, meaning even the outside of your body. There is a spiritual side, there is an inside. But that being said, a lot of it does relate to your body. Next time you're out, like there's people walking behind me, I'm not gonna turn around and look at them, but you can look at them. And next time you're out and you see people walking in a group, walking in a tribe, as it used to be, take a look at the person in front. Usually the taller person, the stronger person. Many times often it's the more animated or energetic person. So they are in some way expressing their dominance, their leadership in a physical way. So that's something it relates to. And then when it comes down to our lives in general, everything you're thinking about or doing in life, it goes back to our role, our origins as animals, and our roles as animals today. Believe it or not, you don't want to accept it, you don't want to believe it, it is still a natural fact. You deal with it. You know, there was a podcast recently where I talked about the book, not the book, wow, I need to really, maybe, you know what, one more sip. So I talked about the movie, The Avengers, that came out recently. The one where, what's it called? The latest Avengers movie.
Infinity War.
Yeah, the Infinity War. Did we even produce that podcast? No, I think we threw away that podcast episode, guys. So I did a little review of the Infinity War. Things are related to fitness. There's a lot of characters in it and all that stuff. Now, Even that movie, now think about that. It's a modern movie. What would you call it? A hero movie, in some ways a sci-fi movie, an action movie. Now that, again, is a fight, a battle between animals. It is a fight for dominance. What do you see two dogs do? What do you see any animals do? Go ahead and turn on the Discovery Channel. They're fighting for dominance. And that's all these guys are doing. It's different tribes, different groups, bad guys and good guys, muscle bound. So again, you see the animal nature of it, fighting for dominance. And what's the other thing in there? There's sexual relationships and there's familial relationships. Now the sexual relationships, I shouldn't need to explain how that relates to our animal nature. If you own a dog, you know that they're really into sex. Even when you get them neutered sometimes, they're still into sex. And there were sexual relationships throughout that movie. Between Star-Lord, who's that guy that does Star-Lord? Chris Pratt and the Green Girl. There was, even though I don't know whether mating would really work between a green person and a human, there was a sexual relationship there, a real dynamic that influenced Star-Lord's, Chris Pratt's actions later in the movie. So almost any movie, now that was an action movie, the Avengers movie, but what's the other type of movie we all like? We all like romantic comedies. They have to deal with mating. They have to deal with what your dog and your neighbor's dog are doing in the backyard are the same thing that we're doing behind closed doors. And that movies and a lot of our society and things we watch have to deal with. And the other thing that happened related to the Green Girl in the movie was a familial relationship. Now, a lot of people told me they had emotional reactions to that movie. People told me they cried watching that movie. Now, one thing that I really gasped at, that really, shook me, was when the big guy that had, Thanos, threw the Green Girl, who was his daughter, adopted daughter, killed her. Now, that was a very emotional scene for me. That made me really gasp. And that's a familial relationship. What's the result of mating? Mating is for procreation, and then you make other little creatures that go on into eternity and continue the cycle. So when you see that, someone killing their offspring, or even their adopted offspring, someone that may not carry on their genetics, but will carry on some of their culture, well, in that case, it's something very shocking. Why did I gasp? Because as an animal, it's been ingrained in me through millions and millions and millions of years of evolution that relationship of parent to child, familiar relationships, are the most strong out there. So that's why it had that emotional response. So again, you saw a movie that dealt with sexual relationships to a small degree. Other movies deal with it in a bigger way. That dealt with family relationships. Again, there's other movies that deal with it in a bigger way. But for the most part, dealt with combat. And when you see most of human history, what it's been shaped by, when you really study history, why we're all here in America from all different countries, a lot of it has to deal with combat. So it's, again, when you see your dog and another dog across the street barking at each other, and they're both naked animals, and they can't talk, well, you know what? We all came as mammals from the same place. So a lot of human life today is the same type of thing. When you see our president staring out and barking at other countries, he's doing it on Twitter, not necessarily, yelling across the street. You're seeing the same type of stuff happen, and you're seeing it pervading throughout all of our culture, popular culture, our actions. Why am I here? Why do you need this? Because you need to forget some of the facade. You need to have the alcohol. So you drop your inhibitions and you let some of the animals out. So ladies, you make some bad decisions, and guys, you get some of your dominance and confidence out. Why are we in a fancy place like this? People need a place to congregate and make bad decisions. With the work, it's a place that it's kind of like a battlefield in some ways. Business, I can attest to this, in many ways is a battlefield. So a lot of human life still goes back to our animal roots. There's no way getting around it. Now, how does that help you? It helps you understand the role that fitness plays in it. Unless you can see this, unless you can decode the Matrix, then you can't really take care of your life. What happened in the Matrix in that movie? He was in a fake type of scenario. He woke up. When he woke up, it wasn't a good thing. He was stuck eating crappy food. He was in a crappy place, but at least he could see reality and get his way out. So that's what I'm trying to do here in this video, guys. Once you understand this, the role fitness plays, then you can start to have some control and take control of your fitness level in a real proactive way. So the bottom line for you guys, I hope I didn't offend anyone, but there's no way getting around the truth that we're all animals. That's not changing forever. Until the robots take over and kill us all, that's not changing, so let's deal with it. And the most basic part of that, the most animalistic aspect is your body. So that's what we deal with, and that's why you can't ignore it. So I hope you like this little episode, guys. I'm going to finish up this drink, and I'm going to keep it just one, so don't worry. And you'll be hearing from me again soon. Take care.